RC racing fans, welcome to this magnificent facility at the Eskiltuna Motor Stadion, and we're on the track. Now this is the track that we've spent all of the broadcast so far telling you so much about, so I wanted to take you on a quick look about it, and then we'll have a pop in there, which is the nerve centre of where all the action is happening. But first, let's have a look around this track. We're in the sort of finish line area. This is the scoring loop. Right here, this is where everything is going to be happening. This is the important part. You watch this bit, and as the cars come across the line, there'll probably be some side-by-side moments around here as well, especially as they come around this corner here. And you'll see, if you look over to the left, you'll see the far end of the circuit. And here are the TKR turns. This is the hairpin down here. See a little hairpin section, then a further curve and a chicane up there. Well, I really want to show you the most impressive part of this track. Firstly, I don't know if this is coming across, no bit of this track is ever flat. This bit is on a slight gradient coming down, very mild, not a huge amount. This has got a slight gradient. I'm definitely feeling this coming down again. This track was designed deliberately not to have any flat parts to it, to make the whole thing more of an experience, more of a challenge for the drivers. And no part of this track illustrates that better than this bit over here. Let's have a look. Over by the scoring loop, over by the scoring monitor you just saw. Let's have a... This is the banked turns going round. These are banked at 10 degrees. We'll first have a look down the back straight. Now, by the time we get to this section here, where I'm standing, the cars are already going to be doing 70 miles an hour. Having come out of the EFRA hairpin down there, you can see it right at the end. So they're already doing 70 miles an hour by this point. Now, normally, you brake for the next corner. Here, if we walk round, actually, I'll do a demonstration for you. Let's get up here. Just watch this for banking, right? This is what 10 degrees looks like in 1/8 scale. Down we go, and right down to the bottom. That's actually a big bit of banking in 10 degrees with quite a narrow track, because obviously it's 8 scale track. And on this banking, the cars don't slow down at all. They stay flat. If you stand here and listen to the cars coming through, they don't let off. Not a single second. They only let off. We'll come back around now. Keep going. Keep going. Still flat out. Still flat out. You can see the line right in the middle of the track, right about here. That's the ideal bit. You don't want to be too far up here. Not enough grip because it's flat banked. It's not progressive like some NASCAR tracks. Don't want to be down at the bottom. You lose too much time. So you see the line right down the middle here that has started to form from the practice sessions earlier. Still on the throttle. Still on the throttle. You're thinking, no, come on. There's a corner here now. Don't be ridiculous. You've got to start braking now. No. Still on the throttle. Still on the throttle. Still on the throttle. Still on the throttle. And literally, I'll just show you where they finally start braking. All the way down here. Here's where they finally start braking for the HPI hairpin. That is it. They stay flat all the way through there for up to around 70 to 75 miles an hour. It is absolutely extraordinary to witness. It's something else to watch race, and I think one of my main questions for the people in there now is going to be, how on earth do you do it? How on earth do you keep that pace up? So, let's go ask some of them, shall we? Let's pop in now into the nerve centre. Into the pits area here. This is the main pit area, main garage area. And this is where all the prep happens. You see all the teams set up now. See them all working away on their cars. This bit back here is the main pit area during the races. This bit here, this is where the mechanics are going to be located. And this is where, on finals day, the important fuel and tyre changes are going to be made right in here. And if we just see, the pit lane is actually quite wide. It's wider than normal. Normally it's only about this big from the width I'm standing. So you get a lot of instance in the pit lane normally in cars, and entire races can be ruined from that. Here, I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue, but I'll tell you what, don't take my word for it. Let's find some people really in the know. Now, there's plenty of people I want to speak to in here right now. A lot of experience, a lot of strong drivers, some of the great stars of our game and stars of our industry. And as I say, we're doing this in the middle of lunch right now. Let's see. There's a couple I did want to have a word with. First up, C. Have a quick word with the guy coming in as the reigning champion. Oliver? Excuse me? Excuse me, sir? Have you got time for a quick word? Cool. And we'll start off with the reigning champ of this event. So Oliver Mack, I remember interviewing you this time last year in Ettlingen. Absolute joy coming in. How does it feel coming in here as the reigning champion?
Well, it's nice. In the beginning, I was not so confident with the car and the engine, but now over 5 minutes, it's very good. So it's not so bad.
So you're feeling good going into the qualifying rounds?
Yes, yes. The last one was very good. So I was not fast on 3 laps, but I make easy the 5 minutes. So the other drivers, I think some guys have a little bit problems over that. So for me, it's okay.
How is it? What challenges have you faced setting up to this kind of pretty long, very varied track? A lot of banking, a lot of elevation changes. How has that been a challenge?
For me, it's a challenge. It's a new track for me, and for me, it's very nice. So I think it's a driver track. So you must to learn, and it's always nice to come on a new track. So for me, it's okay. It's nice.
Excellent. So the weather is also very changeable this weekend. There's been some rain yesterday. It's very cloudy. Then the sun will come out. Does that affect the setup drastically in any way as well?
No, I've changed to the setup from Simon, and after that the car every heat was the same, so it's no problem. For me, no.
Excellent. It was very relaxed. I've got to say, I'm loving the relaxed feeling. So, obviously, how are you feeling coming into? How confident are you going back to back in European Championships?
Oh, it's not easy. Always not easy, but for 5 minutes it's okay to drive good in qualification. But then we must see. Like always, last year, I don't expect to become European champion. So we see.
Everything from here has been enjoyable. It's been great seeing you last year. We hope to see you go and do it again today. Best of luck for the event. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Right, and just behind, let's see, Robert. Let's have a word for this. Now here's a man who knows all about winning these major championships. This is Robert Peach. And Robert, coming in here this weekend, it's a lot of people have remarked about this track. It's very long. It's got a lot of different elevation changes. How was that meant for you in terms of setting up the car?
I think the car setup is quite much the same like on a normal standard track. But basically the track is pretty challenging as it looks big, but the infield is very narrow, so it's not easy to drive.
And we've seen some varied weather conditions across the weekend. You know, clouds coming in, sun coming down occasionally, threats of rain. Has that changed your attitude towards the setup and approach to individual heats and things like that?
In terms of setup, no, but with the wind it's sometimes quite difficult to drive because when you get the wind from behind or from the side, the car is pretty difficult to drive. So I hope for no wind in the qualifying or in the rest of the race too.
So wind, pack it in, no more of it. We'll not have that. Right. I mean, you've won this. You've won plenty of times in your career. You've won this. You must be feeling pretty confident coming in here. How good do you feel of your chances of adding another European trophy?
Oh, I feel confident, but for me, Simon is on his top level of his career at the moment. So I guess it's pretty difficult to beat him if he have no fail or I don't know, some issue on the car. It's difficult to beat him at the moment.
So you feel like he's kind of the favourite going in, but you've got a good chance yourself, surely.
I think we have a good chance if I keep my mind clear and everything is working good, then we have a chance. But as I said, Simon is on his high level driving what he ever had before.
He's on a very high level at the moment, but we expect to see you right there at the sharp end. We expect to see you challenging as well. Best of luck for the rest of the weekend. Thank you for talking to us. All right, see if we can come through. And that's a point. That's a very good point. And you heard it right there. Mr. Simon Kurzbuch, the world champion in this discipline, is the one that even someone like Robert Peach is picking to be one to beat. And I'm going to see if we can try and find him at this end. Oh, garage, excuse me. Some cars revving at the far end. See what I mean about this being a real hive of activity, can't you? It's a great area. I think, to be honest with you, I think they might still be at lunch. Although there is someone down here I wanted to have a quick word with. Tom? You got a moment to have a chat? Cool. Just found I wanted to have a talk with this guy. This is the reigning 1/10 B European champion, Tom Krugewski. Obviously, you won it last year in Turkey. How did that kind of give you? Did that give you a big boost of confidence going forward in your career in terms of big European tournaments?
Yeah, of course. When you win a championship, it's always motivation to go better and to take the experience you already have to stay with this and to find better solutions. If you've been one time in a big final, then you want to do it also for the next time. So yes, we will see what I can do here. At the moment, I feel pretty okay, and yeah.
Has there been any major difference in approach between 1/10 and 1/8 racing, or is it fairly similar for you?
I think for me it's pretty different because the 1/8 cars you have to drive it different, more aggressive compared to the 110 cars, and 110 cars there is sometimes more difficult to set up the cars because you have more options to change the differentials in front and rear, and yes, but it's quite funny also to drive the 1/8 car on such a super large track.
I imagine it must be fun. Everyone's been talking about this big track out here. It's been great fun. Now, what are your expectations going into this event? What kind of results do you really hope to achieve? I mean, obviously every driver wants to win. That's an absolute given. But where do you reckon you can come in this event?
I tried to go into the A main final. That's the target. And at the moment I'm in the top 20. Still room to improve, but I think it's possible.
So you're feeling pretty confident so far? It's good to hear.
Yeah, I think the car is good, but the track is really easy to make mistakes here.
Yeah, it's such a big track, very easy to make mistakes out there. A lot of tricky corners out there. But best of luck, Tom. Thanks very much for speaking to us. Cheers. Right, let's see. We can have a quick chat. How are we doing for time up there? What do you reckon? Have we got time? I'm seeing if I can. The world champion is a very elusive creature around here. Let's see if we can find our lone Brit in here as well. Here we go. One more. Andy, chance for a quick word? We'll finish this segment with the British representation this weekend. Fighting the good fight, Andy. First off, you understand this is not your everyday, this is not your regular kind of class of RC racing. What sees you out here this weekend in a 1/8 nitro?
I basically have a new part of a new team, new sponsor, the Infinity team, and we have an 8-scale car. So my focus now for this year will be quite a lot more nitro over the electric that I normally run. But we've got new projects coming as well, so there'll be a new 10-scale car and also an EP car later on. But yeah, some extra nitro racing for me. So yep.
Excellent, always good. The smell of nitro is always quite intoxicating, isn't it? And how different is this to drive in terms of the stuff you've driven before?
It is quite a lot different. The driving style, I mean, you still have to be quite smooth. Like it's not really an EP style as such. You need to be on the gas a little bit more because of the way the cars have a solid rear axle and one way in the front. It does drive a little bit different for sure, and obviously you have a lot more downforce with these because they're pretty big, heavy things, but they do have a wedge-shaped body shell. So it drives different for sure. It needs a little bit different technique and driving style, but it's okay.
It's all relative, I guess. And so, I mean, every race driver wants to win the event they're in. It's an absolute given. I would never ask whether you think you can win this. Everyone can. But what are your kind of expectations for this event? Where do you really kind of hope to achieve out of this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's trying to win. I mean, if I can, I'm trying to get in the semi-final, and then you go from there and see what happens. But yeah, it'll be difficult. I don't have as much experience as a lot of these guys, but yeah, just keep pushing as hard as I can, and we'll see what happens.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for speaking to us, Andy. Best of luck for the event. And I'll tell you what, they are about to kick off for the first round of qualifying, so we'd best skedaddle back upstairs. It's been great being down here in the pits and out on the track, and thanks very much for joining us here on the Pitwalk.